I'd like to welcome in now Natalie Smith. Natalie is a leadership and career development specialist who lives in Jamaica. So, Natalie, thank you so much for giving us some of your time today. What is the situation, first of all, right now there in Jamaica?
Well, welcome. Thank you very much for the introduction. Right now, where I am, I live in Kingston. And as you can see, hopefully from my window, it's a little bit overcast. Over the last few days, we've just really had periods of rain intermittently, mainly at night. But at the moment, it is, you could say, the calm before the storm. But I definitely know how hurricanes can change very quickly. And I still am aware of what's happening across other parts of the island where rain has started, swells have begun.
Are you worried?
Uh, I would say I am cautious. I wouldn't say I'm worried. I don't want to have that negative energy. And I would say that my fiance and I are getting prepared for this. You know, I've lived here 13 years as a British expat, and I've gone through a few hurricanes and we've come through them. I have as well. So I would say counteracting the worriedness is by being prepared and listening to the right information.
Absolutely. I know. I totally understand what you mean about not wanting to invite in that negative energy. So we just heard Max there say that the hurricane hunters had to abandon their mission. They had to abort, something he's never heard them do. Do you think people realize the potential magnitude and seriousness of this storm?
That's a great question. I think some people do. But as Jamaicans, we still really don't believe things until it happens. But I believe that, you know, compared to last year's Hurricane Beryl, and what what's going on now, some don't realize the magnitude. I was watching earlier on in the news where, you know, there is evacuations happening by the Office of Disaster Prepared and Emergency Management in areas which will experience flash flooding. And some people are like, we don't want to leave our properties. Some are, yes, I'm getting on these buses and going to shelters. So I'd say mixed emotions and reactions.
All right. And last hour, Natalie, I spoke with someone from the Consulate General's office here or in New York in the States. You just talked about the fact that, you know, Jamaica is not monetarily rich. Absolutely, it's an island rich in many other ways. But, you know, it is predicted that there could really be this massive damage to infrastructure. Are you concerned about that? And, you know, have they talked about plans on moving forward? What happens in the days after?
It's interesting you asked that because I've definitely intentionally not wanted to connect too much to social media, just the sensationalism of what's happening here when I'm actually here as we speak. So I make sure I connect with, you know, government accounts and information. So this morning we had the Honourable Dr. Prime Minister Holness, who came on Instagram and did speak about what's happening and what we're doing now, what we're going to be doing during it, and what we're going to be doing afterwards. And they're definitely prepared. They were talking about the funds financially that's ready and prepared to start with the relief, to start with the recovery. And when I was listening and watching that on their Instagram account, I did feel very content and very comfortable that we are going to be okay. And what's happening infrastructure wise to support, whether it's electricity or water, I know that we're going to get electricity and water cut, but that's expected and we're already prepared. So I'm very confident in our infrastructure, in our government for the days to come afterwards.
Very good. All right. So, Natalie, Max just came over here, gave me an update. I guess wind speeds have now been measured at 175 miles per hour. So it's increased by 10 miles per hour. You know, I know you can only account for you and your fiance and what happens there, but kind of just walk us through what likely happens for the two of you over the next 24 hours.
Okay, so it's interesting where we actually live in Kingston, and I would say that we haven't been impacted negatively as much as other parts of Kingston or other parts of the island. So the most that will happen for us is electricity and the water will go. There are little parts of areas in where our apartment is where there might be a little bit of flooding, especially coming from the corridor. What I will say is on our main road, it turns into quote unquote a gully. So I probably will be recording that, as you know, and last year with the previous hurricane, when I left the apartment complex, just the roads surrounding, you saw branches, you saw rubbish on the main roads, and the roads had started to become uneven where the water had really battered it. And we're a couple of minutes from a gully as well, which will 100% become impassable. But we're prepared. We've cooked. I've prepared food that doesn't need to be reheated. We've got water stocked up. All our devices are charged. I've downloaded all of my favorite shows so that I can catch up on as well over the next couple of days.
All right. Well, Natalie, really appreciate your time today. Wish you and your fiance the very best, and we will do our best to follow up with you to see how things are going in the coming days. So thank you for your time.
Very, very welcome. And thank you for asking me to come on.
Absolutely.
Have a great day.
You too.